Hello everyone, welcome to VOD of Consciousness with Sientir. I'm Sientir, and you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Sientir. Yay! I mentioned that just because it's important. So this session last time I talked some about things like bigotry and racism and stuff a little bit. This guy is... yeah, whatever. I'm not necessarily going to do that right now, but I'm at least going to grab the quest. Oh, boy. Okay, do I have your hexes on the monk? I do. Good. Go me. Okay. These guys are actually a little bit more fancy than some enemies, because these were introduced later in the game when they had more of an idea of how to build areas. You move like a dwarf is going to be somewhat helpful in this zone. So these guys are a little annoying because they have the ability to resurrect each other. Oh. There we go. Got the knockdown. That interrupts that. So I'm not sure how much more I necessarily have to say, but like, there's just a lot of complicated social stuff that I've been trying to sort through, and I'm gonna actually wait here a moment to give Elias a chance to animate a few minions, because that would be very useful. And, like, fundamentally, like I was saying, what I want is for people to treat each other as human beings. And I feel frustrated because I feel like, now is this indicating it is going to be this way? That there's a lot of, in these culture wars, there's a lot of not treating each other as human beings that's kind of done on basically both sides of the war. And there's a lot of different concerns at play. For example, I definitely know experientially that there's a lot of people who feel that the political left favors non-white men, that white men are seen as terrible, reprehensible human beings and the worst form of scum. And I have people say, well, that's not the case so much as there's other stuff going on, like, say, wanting to bring things into inequality. And I think equality is great. We have to make sure that's by bringing people up and not pulling other people down as much as we can. But it's a complicated mess because, like, somebody was mentioning that one of the things that everybody says is their dream is to give their children a better life than they had. Or at least that's a very common thing that people want to accomplish. And that being the case, that results in certain forms of privilege, right? That's just how that works. And there's little that can... I want to get this guy. If that's what you want to accomplish, is for your children to have a better life than you do, by giving them a better start than you had, then, like, how does that fit into stuff? Like, how do we make sure that that's not, that better life isn't at the detriment of someone else, basically? And I think it can be done in a way that's not at a detriment, but that's always going to make an uneven playing field because people are going to various degrees be able to accomplish that goal. What did you want, Kilroy? This guy is a Leroy Jenkins thing. Now, does that actually... Yeah, that takes me into Saros Furnace, so I'm not gonna do that. Because that is contrary to my interests. I want to go up to here, where the next zone is. Oh my goodness, this spot is annoying. Oh, wow, that is some serious hex stacking. Okay, so what I'm seeing is I need to focus... Well, this area is different than other areas anyway. Okay, getting distracted by the game, which is probably going to happen a lot. So yeah, it's like, how do we unpack all of these sort of issues in a way where we're looking at the full picture and not just partial pictures? How do we deal with things in a way that doesn't deny humanity of anyone? Deep freeze. Water trident's also annoying here. I need to look at what elites I have in other professions, because I might want to... Well, I don't know. I always need to take an activist role because it makes it easier to direct the AI. But so I hope that there are efforts made to treat each other as human beings, to respect the shared humanity that we have, and all of that. Let's see. I need to... Do I want to keep doing scythe stuff? I have brace yourself. No, there's... General Morgan has incoming on me. Probably a few other skills too, by the looks of things. Incoming and... Yeah, I think Anthem of No, I have Anthem of Disruption. What is the other one? Or is it... Crippling Anthem... Oop, that's too far. That's... He has 19, I have 18. Okay, so it's just that one. Okay, so what I'm noticing is what I think might be actually useful. This might actually be kind of useful. I'm going to run that over Aegis. The reason is that this doesn't give quite as much of an effect, but it gets constantly reapplied. So that's actually really useful. I'm not sure about Word of Healing and Heal Party here. Yeah. I'm going to... Okay, so I'm going to... How do I want to handle this? Build stuff tends to get a little bit slower because I need to figure out what I want to be accomplishing. Because there's... Balthazar's Pendulum is not what I want. I'm thinking I don't need those specific healing effects versus other things. So, like, I might want Expel Hexes, for example. But I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be. Alright, let's throw on Expel Hexes and crank the Soul Reaping. And give him Bone Fiends as well. And let's see. Mirror of Disenchantment, I guess, seems pretty good. That's 500 1 second. Yeah, remove one enchantment from target foe. All that foe's party members also lose that same enchantment. That seems pretty useful. I just wanted a little bit of enchantment removal. I think there is a dervish skill that does that, but that's not terrible. But I'm happy with these. Am I overall happy with my build? No. I want to try Don't Trip instead of You Move Like a Dwarf, because You Move Like a Dwarf is not as useful as I was hoping it would be. Otherwise, I think I'm okay with running Scythe stuff and all of these things. Ballad of Restoration is definitely kind of the best one of those. Any Refrain might not be the worst to use, but I kind of want stuff that's kind of hitting all of the allies without having to think too much. That's probably fine. Okay, so this is our lovely war camp. So let's go ahead and head back out, because I need to make my way back. And that's down the hill over here. So, long story short, I'm tired of culture wars where everyone accuses the other side of being full of nothing but horrible human beings. Because it's inaccurate for the most part. And I'm tired of people being shoved into groups that they don't belong in as well. And then used to be minimized. And basically, people have a lot of concerns, and we, as human beings, have a tendency to want to ignore each other's concerns. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. PH. I don't know. Let's go back to the Shining Blade uniform. Put on this helmet. It has some weird white edges. I think that's some artifacting with the way that with a specular map. But anyway. Yeah, so that's what something too that I'd like to see in the comment section when people comment on these things, is that they take the time to actually pay attention to each other, to listen, and to treat each other as human beings. That they recognize that each person has their own set of circumstances, experiences, things that they've learned, and sometimes really poorly. I know that there's a ton of stuff that I've had to unlearn. And it's frustrating and it's difficult. But it's also important to do and to be willing to do as well. So this is where you use Don't Trip and then the party doesn't fall over, and it's amazing. Where's that Nasher? Well, oh. Where the heck does the game think I am? I don't even know. Actually, nope, we've got some time. This game, like, the making builds takes for friggin' ever, but when you're actually out in the areas, boy, does it go quickly. That's what I'm finding. Is like, I spent an entire episode at the start figuring out what I wanted my team build composition to be, because there's just so much to figure out. Okay, this person needs to go down. Melander's arrows is making all of its attacks cause bleeding, basically. It's effectively what's going on. And that's kind of overloading our condition removal a bit. And then when we actually get out in zones into combat, it's like, oh yeah, and that combat that was so intense. Yeah, no, that's been like 30 seconds. Maybe a minute, and I'm like, oh. Okay. Fair game. Fair. I think these guys have counter blow, which is why I use Don't Trip there. Not really real. Oh, Shiver Peak key. Shiver Peak key will open a Shiver Peak chest, which will contain a random item. Probably like, the majority of the time, these keys are worth more for the raw value they have, 300 gold value, than as a actual item to buy stuff with. I'm going to go ahead and... I need to go that way to leave the zone. Oh, well, we aggro these guys. We're fighting them now. You can see why the minions are useful, by the way, because they super distract the enemies. They're just meat shields and damage sources, so... Minions are super strong in this game. They just don't work on every single zone, because some zones don't have very many enemies that you can raise, because they need to be fleshy corpses. Not all corpses can be raised deaded. So, something to keep in mind. But when you can use them, minions are great. Okay, well, yeah, like, I look back and it's like 50 seconds. The fight was 50 seconds, and it felt way more than that. But that's the pacing of this game. Anyway, I want to get to the other zone. So we'll go ahead and get to the other zone. I didn't really need to don't trip there, but whatever. Renew those blade turn refrains. Yep, that's the best way to interrupt a spell. Straight knock them down. There are a ton of mechanics in this game that I love. Enslavement stone. Oh, okay, that's just... the stone summon are evil and enslave the dredge. Yep. So just gonna walk out into this zone, and looks like I'm averaging close to 17 minutes this round, but you know, whatever. Take care, everyone. Till next time. Bye bye.